Hello there, dear viewer, and welcome to haQ attaQ. My name is Jakob. I'm your host, and I want to begin with a sound example because I want you to see and hear how this thing can sound. Pipa is that synthesizer that got away from me during 2020 because it was released that year. And if I had noticed it, if I had the time to get into it and just have a look at it, my synthesizer list would have been a top 6 synthesizer list because this one is amazing. Okay, so check this out. I'm using the same sequence. However, this time I've played around with the envelopes for the vowel, the dynamics, and the pitch. So it's gonna sound different. The first time I played Pipa, I thought to myself, wow, that's a really good formant filter. And it turns out it's not. You see, there is no formant filter. And for those of you who are wondering why I'm so excited about this, let me show you something real quick. So here is Thor. This synthesizer is no longer available on the App Store. It was made by Propellerhead, now called Recent Studios, and that is not important. So here I'm loading up a oscillator, and then I'm loading up a formant filter. Now that's a very easy way of getting some vocal synthesis going on. But when you listen to Pipa, you can hear that it is way more complex in how it sounds, how good it sounds, how it's handling all the formants, and so how is it doing it? Well, it turns out that Pipa is a granular synthesizer, and it is using a special algorithm that the guys over at Klevgränd Produkter, or Klevgränd Produkter, has built, which has taken them a year or a couple of years to actually make. And what it does is it analyzes audio material and then cuts it up into tens of thousands of wavetables, categorizing everything. So it knows exactly where the formant is and all these different things. And then it makes sure that nothing goes out of phase. So it sounds like you're moving from one sound to another. Everything needs to be seamless. You know, I did call Johan Sundhage over at Klevgränd Produkter, or Klevgränd Produktion, and he told me also that the hardest thing to do, one of the hardest things to do, was for the singer to actually record perfect vocal sessions. Because if they weren't perfect, if there were any type of glitches, any type of room sound messing with the audio, the algorithm wouldn't work. So that poor singer had to work really hard. Now, normally I do this in-depth tutorial of a synth, and I don't want to do this here. What I really want to do, my true intentions behind this video, is to bring Pipa and its unique sound and expressiveness to your attention, because I think it really deserves a lot of it, of your attention, that is. I mean, everyone should really test this one out because it's great. Now, you actually do have two voices in here to work with. So you have a male voice and you have a female voice. And you can set if you want to use one voice at a time or two voices at a time. And then you can also set if you want to use both female and male voice, or just the male voice or just the female voice over here. And when you've got this set to using two voices at the same time, you also have a panning mode that you can utilize, where you got 3 different panning modes and you can set the spatial width between those panning modes. So really quickly, we have 3 controls here, and you can basically view them as a 3-band equalizer. So low, high, and mid. It's very straightforward. I mean, there's a bit more to it if you go and check the manual, but yeah, if you really want to know, go check the manual. Now, there are 2 more controls here I'll mention real quickly, and it's the vowel one and the dynamics one. With the vowel one, well, Pipa has the ability to move from an O to an open A vowel. And here you can set the starting vowel, you could say. So you're moving towards the O when you're going left, and you're moving towards the open A moving right. Now, with the dynamics, you're basically going from soft notes to harder notes. Alright, so let's talk expression modulation. Now, part of what makes Pipa sound so good is the way that it handles, well, things moving around in here. And it's doing it with the help of envelopes, LFOs, and also other controlling elements, like a MIDI controller if you've got that attached, or keyboard, modulation wheel, stuff like that. So if we look at the envelopes, we can see that we have 4 pages, one for gain, and this one is a full ADSR envelope. And the attack and release have adjustable slopes. Now, the pitch dynamics and vowel envelopes also have adjustable slopes for the attack and release, but they're missing a sustain control because they don't need that. So basically ADR envelopes. There is another thing different with the pitch dynamics and vowel pages, and it is this thing here called weight. And so this will set the range of the envelope. So for the pitch, it's basically how far it can pitch, either up or down. And the other ones behaves the same way. If we take the vowel one, for instance, we can decide how it moves from O to A and vice versa. Now, on top of this, we can also have the attack being modulated by velocity, and we can do the same thing for the release. And it doesn't stop there, because then we also have 4 LFOs, one for each envelope, which will allow us to add fluctuations to the envelope. Now, I want you to take a closer look at the LFOs, because this knob here is called Control 1 modulation, and it will always be Control 1 modulation. Why is that important? Well, it turns out that you have Control 2 also. Now, for you to understand exactly how this works, I need to show you something more, because you can find this same Control 1 in another place, or in 3 other places. You see, if we look here at the vowel control, dynamics control, and the level control, we have a mod option. And when we press that button, we get this pop-up. And here we can set an amount for velocity, and then right below it we have Control 1, and that is actually the same Control 1 we can find in the LFO. We also have Control 2 here. And so what are these controls? Because they just say control. Well, it turns out that you can set those 2 controls up any way you want. And to do that, we have to go to the setup. Here we can see Control 1 and Control 2. And right now, well, from the basic default mode, Control 1 is being controlled by the modulation wheel, and Control 2 is being controlled by key tracking. But these can be changed out. And so if we press here, we get a pop-up window where we have stuff like modulation wheel, breath control, foot control, expression, channel aftertouch, key track. And then we have these 4 here called Gen Perp, 1, 2, 3, and 4. And this is basically general purpose MIDI, basically MIDI CC. However, the numbers here are a bit misleading, because what you're actually dealing with is MIDI CC number 80, 81, 82, and 83. Now, luckily you won't even have to bother with those, because if you want to add MIDI CC controllers, you can just use MIDI Learn. Tap, twist, and it's done. Yeah, I love it when it's this simple. as you can see, Pipa have been designed to be really expressive. And so for any keyboard players out there, give this one a try. I'm sure you'll end up loving it. It sounds great. It is super expressive. And to any vocal synthesis lovers out there, like myself, this one is a keeper. Just a slight warning though, because of how Pipa works and the algorithm in here and what it actually does, it's a heavy plug. It's kind of up there in the Moog Model D kind of heaviness. Yeah, it's really heavy, but it's understandable when you get how the synthesis part works in this one. Either way, it's worth the money you invest into it. Now, if you're wondering what the name means, well, it's basically Swedish, and it's a word that can be used to describe multiple things. Pipa could mean to squeal. It can also mean pipe, as in tobacco pipe. And then you can use it in a sentence like this. Det är bra pipa på den där snubben. Basically translating into, that guy has a good pipe. Wait, no, that sounds wrong. That guy has a good singing voice. You know what? Just forget about it. Okay, so I recommend Pipa. I highly recommend Pipa. If you want to go get it, you can find an app link down in the description. If you want to support the work I do on this channel, then hit this video with a thumbs up and also comment down below. Tell everyone reading the comment section what you think about Pipa. I think it's pretty amazing, and I think that Johan Sundhage from Klevgränd Produkter has done an excellent job. He's the guy that made this synth, and just amazing job, Johan. Really amazing job. Now, if you want to support me in a financial way, then you can, well, look at these links here on the side, and you can find Agonizer Synth up there, and you can find my music. Can I get do I have my Bandcamp somewhere? I have my music over, yeah, never mind. As usual, I wish you a very productive week. Now go finger all of your stuff and have a lot of fun doing it. So,